startup music. I'm not sure that we knew that the music was going to happen, but it's exciting, guys. Welcome. Yeah, everybody's kind of jumping on, logging on, hopping on, whatever they do, tuning in. Yeah.
Going live with us.
So yeah, I made an announcement a few days ago. If you don't know me, so we're gonna introduce ourselves as people are logging on, but we'll just continue to let people do that. So
yeah. Well, what's up, y'all? I'm Aaron. I work obviously for Campus Outreach, as we all do. About me, I am husband to Annalise Walker. I am father to David Walker. I work at Troy University.
Yeah, that's a good place. We all kind of.
I'm still here. I'm still at Troy. It's a ghost town, but I'm here. Yeah.
So we all work with Campus Outreach, of course, because we're putting on the putting on this thing. But
and we got the mug to prove it.
We got the mugs.
Yeah.
Who else we got here? Why don't you introduce yourself real quick?
I'm Boz, and I'm not a husband or a father, but I did get the plague last week from his son. So work with these guys and went to school at Troy. So we just all stuck around.
We go way back. But I introduced myself, but I'm Joey. So I'm excited. Love Troy. Love Campus Outreach. Love you guys that are viewing. Love these two friends. And what in the heck are we doing? We're really excited. We got this thing, all right? It's brand new. We've never done it. We're calling it Need of the Hour, all right? Instagram Live, it's up there. Need of the Hour, hosted by Campus Outreach Troy. So if you want to call it NOH for short, you can do that.
No.
But yeah, so we're just going to discuss some things together, kind of roundtable, and definitely get some interaction from you guys, like some question and answer and comments. Feel free. We're going to answer some of those as we go or at the end, however that needs to look. But tonight specifically, we're just going to discuss dealing with disappointment. All right, so this topic, dealing with disappointment. So as people are hopping on, who might be viewing, who might be out there logging in.
Man, we before the break and Corona, we
Oh yeah, so that's right. As we're getting on here, we did want to have a meme of the week. So I don't even know what this says. This is off the cuff.
This is my favorite one.
So if you have memes, send them to us and we'll show you them. But meme of the week, me in 20 years
with PTSD
of the Charmin toilet paper. But yeah, in some ways, we got that up there. We know there's something big going on in the world right now. We're not trying to avoid that, all right? But we want to really talk about dealing with disappointment. But as I was saying, it's like who's kind of logging in right now? Who's viewing? Would love to give some shout outs.
So before the break, as I was saying, before the break, we had a bunch of Bible studies going on across campus. So I feel like a lot of this is kind of meeting that need. It's kind of filling in for that, the fact that we can't meet with them and with y'all in person. And so, man, we got people all over campus probably. We had independent Bible studies going on. We had athletic
basketball and Bible study.
Basketball and Bible study.
Didn't get invited to that one, but
you just barely missed it. You were almost there.
It's okay.
Yeah, I think we got a lot of sports teams too, right?
Yeah.
Like softball and baseball. Hopefully some of those people, basketball team, the football team for sure. So
baseball, yeah. We got fraternities, man. We got we had stuff with Lambda Chi, Sigma Chi, ATO. Really, a lot of them, honestly. A bunch of stuff going on campus there.
Greek Girls Growth Group, GGG, something like that.
So the point is, while we're doing this, man, God's been doing work all over campus.
Sure.
And social distancing and coronavirus, it ain't gonna stop it. It can't stop it. So, and the cool thing is, like, a bunch of these friends that y'all are mentioning that we really care about, you guys who are watching, like, y'all have been asking us, like, how can we continue to grow? How can we keep growing in our faith spiritually? And so we hope that this helps just create a platform for that. But we're calling it Need of the Hour. So why are we calling it that? It's kind of a term that we use in our sphere, in our work. And I don't really know exactly what it means. It just means there's this part of our schedule that we have in our work that just means, like, get stuff done, take care of business, and kind of be flexible. Like, I don't know what's going to happen this week for Need of the Hour. It might be different than next week.
Yeah.
And that just felt like a perfect title. Like, what is the need of the hour for Troy students and their spiritual growth? And we got kind of this thing that we're trying. So NOH, Need of the Hour, we're hoping it really catches on.
Yeah. I think it feels a little bit like if you were at one of our Bible studies we were doing. It's very discussional. It's us just talking back and forth. You, Joey, kind of asking questions, and we're just going to chop it up and talk about it. If y'all were here, we'd let you join in, but you're not.
Still ask questions.
Yeah, ask questions.
Yeah. Yes.
Put them in the comments, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. So we're just going to jump right in. And again, we've said it. We had the meme. There's a big thing going on in the world right now, coronavirus. In no way do we want to make light of that. Yeah. But we also I kind of feel like, hey, everybody's talking about it. All right, everybody's talking about coronavirus, and we want to zoom out a little bit, I guess, in this discussion. Like, how could we zoom out and not just talk about that, but mainly like this thing has kind of brought a lot of disappointment into our lives. And so how do we deal with disappointment in general, or now specifically? So that's what we're talking about. And LeBron James, the king himself, he got a tweet just a few days ago. There's an expletive in here. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I'm not gonna say it out loud. Very sorry, but we can't really edit his words. So here's what he had to say. I think it has a lot to say about disappointment. I'm gonna read it. We're gonna discuss it. All right. Here we go. In my best LeBron James voice. Man, we're canceling sports events, school, office work, etc., etc. What we really need to do is cancel 2020. And then he says, dang, it's been a rough 3 months. It's been a rough 3 months. God bless and stay safe. So here's LeBron James. What sticks out to you guys just about this tweet?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't just say like the past week, the past 2 weeks. He's like, man, this whole year.
Yeah.
He's going back the whole year.
Yeah, the past 3 months. He's saying, I mean, it's been rough. It seems like if we're saying dealing with disappointment, like this dude is embodying that right now. He's saying, I'm disappointed by this year.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, what might be some of those things? This is not a sports podcast, so don't.
Yeah.
You don't have to know a bunch about sports, but what might be some of the things he's talking about if you know anything?
I mean, everybody heard about Kobe.
Yeah.
Like, I don't follow basketball, but I know about that. I think a lot of people looked up to him, and
they were close. They were close friends.
Yeah, they were close friends. Him and LeBron, and just what he represented. Like, even as an athlete, as a woman, like, he was a really big advocate for that. And so, I don't know, just seeing that loss, we experienced that unexpected, and I think that's why, like, he is voicing the frustration of a lot of people, because it's not just this corona thing, it's back to back to back of just so unexpected things, like the World War III thing, like people were talking about that, you know.
Yeah.
So
that was out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of stuff. It's been an interesting year.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get that championship in those waning years of his career. So it's just kind of got taken out from under him in some ways, which we'll see what happens with the rest of the season. But the clock's winding down. It's being postponed. So he's really given us some great thoughts here about disappointment. We can relate to this. Sure. I think that you guys, Troy students especially, have also had some disappointment. So we're about to try to this thing. We'll see how it works. We're going to try to go live with Alexis Garrett, our friend, senior on the track team. So she's going to do that. But again, just like disappointments with Troy, specifically Troy students, what might be some of those? She's gonna tell us a little bit about some of her specific disappointments. And I think she's getting it all set up.
Yeah, I mean, in the meantime, while we're waiting, we can talk about
some ones.
Go
for it. What
we've
would
seen,
be
like the people have told us. So.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think about seniors. That's the first thing that comes to my mind, honestly, is, man, seniors coming to the end of their college career. And it just kind of being cut short.
That's a good start with the seniors. So
Alexis is coming on now.
Hey! What's up, Alexis?
What up?
Oh,
it's loading.
And now?
I know.
There she is.
Thank you.
Alexis, what's up? I don't know if you can see us. We're kind of here, me and Boz. Aaron's got the longest arm of us all, so he's going to hold it. But, hey, so we're talking about disappointment. What have been some of your personal disappointments right now? We'd love to hear.
Yeah.
Because they just start now.
Yeah,
yes,
just this season of life, like how are you dealing with this for real?
The Yeah, I'm in the middle of a disappointment. I'm coming off of ACL surgery.
Yeah.
Many of you may know I tore my ACL during the final race of my senior year. It was bad. It's really bad. And it was very unexpected. You know, I was planning the race. It looked like I was going to be in a good place, and then I ended on the ground. So it was disappointing to say the least. I was very heartbroken.
No doubt.
Yeah.
How are you dealing with some of that? Like, I mean, like you said, all that is big. It's a real thing. How are you dealing with it?
Yeah, track was like the way I expressed my glory to the Lord, and I kind of felt like when I fell, I was like, what am I supposed to do now? You know what I'm saying? But I'm using the injury as a different type of fight, so I think it looks really different for me. But it's just PT, physical therapy. I just want to let y'all know it's very, very difficult. So I think I'm
I wouldn't know much about that, but I've heard
in a lot of different ways in that fight. So the fight's not over. It's just beginning actually, but it's been a great week. I'm already walking without my crutches and all that stuff. So we see the Lord in that. So even in disappointments, He's there.
Yeah.
And I think that's big. Like the way you're talking about that, I think it's setting us up great for kind of the rest of the stuff we want to just chop up together.
Absolutely.
But I mean, it's just different. Like when you talk about disappointment, but then you got a friend who's like really had some struggle, and it's like, dang, I've been praying for Alexis. You know, like I know that it's been tough. So we just appreciate you sharing with us and kind of being vulnerable, setting the stage for the rest of this thing. So y'all give it up for Alexis in whatever appropriate way over social media.
Bye, Lex.
Thank you. So Alexis is kicked us off. Aaron was talking about seniors. What else? What other disappointments Troy people might be having? Kind of rapid fire.
I mean, I just think about friends too that had so much planned, or like especially if you're, I don't know, like maybe SGA, you know, or sorority, fraternity. Like you spent all this time and energy and effort, like to plan this great event, you know, or something you want to accomplish, and now it's just gone. Like, and even nursing students can't go to clinicals, and so they can't actually practice, you know, what they need to. So, I don't know, just a lot of missed opportunities. I think
people going on spring break, they got things they
never
want to
coming
tell
back
people
from
about.
spring
They
break.
can't share.
I'm missing all those spring break stories for sure.
The tan lines, the burns.
Man, other things like athletes, seasons ended, online classes, like you paid for a in-person class.
I know some of y'all's GPAs, and this online platform might not be helping. So
it might help some people, but other people it's tough.
So the whole point is y'all are going through some stuff. It's valid. It's hard.
Yeah.
And it might be causing fears and anxiety, and we get that, and we know what that looks like. But the whole thing we're talking about tonight is how do you deal with these disappointments? And so I think what's crazy is like there are so many different views from the media and culture. You know, you scroll on Instagram, you just see it everywhere. All these different thoughts. What do y'all think are some of the main ways that the culture is helping us try to deal with disappointment? What's it telling us to do?
I think, I mean, even with the culture like that I grew up in, like my knee-jerk reaction to disappointment is like, oh man, that sucked. It's a low point. I never want to feel that way again. So I'm just gonna like go extra hard. I'm gonna work super hard. I'm gonna try to take as many things off of my to-do list as I can. Yeah, like fill my schedule, be busy. So anybody asks, I'm like, no, I'm busy. I'm just, you know, because I'm doing so many things. I'm trying to be successful.
Trying
just
to
kind of
avoid it.
Avoiding it, shoving it down.
That's praised though. I think it's not just you. Like that's praised in culture. It's
like,
admired.
Hey, how are you? Busy.
Yeah.
Like, all the time. So
busy's the answer.
Yeah.
And then to the exact opposite. I mean, there's just like, man, I'm disappointed, and so I'm just gonna check out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get on Netflix a lot. I'm gonna watch a lot of Netflix. I'm gonna play a lot of video games. I just want to numb kind of my disappointment in life.
Coast. Numb, coast.
Coast, yeah.
I'm not going to try too hard. If I don't set my expectations too high.
I can't be disappointed.
Yeah, I can't be disappointed.
That makes so much sense.
I mean, I see that in my own life. And I think you could even just like sit in that thing. Like, come on, I'm going to throw the biggest Joey pity party of the world. Y'all don't want to see a Joey pity party, but Margaret has seen one, my wife. But So that might be another thing. Is like you just sit in disappointment.
Just wallow in it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Never have any hope.
And it's weird, we could talk for a long time different things that we've even seen and how they're saying deal with disappointment during this time with what's going on in the world, but in general. But the point is there's a lot of different messages, a lot of different thoughts. So yeah, just spiritually, like kind of switching gears, like what does Christianity say? How does Christianity help us deal with disappointment? What does it say?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, first of all. I think it's a really good question because, you're brilliant. Like, right now, what's going on, what we're hearing a lot about is, I just hear a lot of people talking about, and there must be something more out there. I'm so disappointed. I'm so bored and things like this. Like questions are coming up. I think culture is asking more questions. We see non-Christians looking into Christianity. Maybe I've seen that, and I've also seen. I feel like I've seen a lot of let's just say it. We're in the Bible Belt. A lot of it's popular to say you're Christian, but I've seen a lot of people saying what does it actually mean to be a Christian?
How do I follow now?
Exactly.
Even
How do
when
I
it's
follow
hard,
Christ?
when it's not easy, when it's not socially, you just accept it.
Exactly. So we have these questions coming up right now, and then you're saying how does a Christian help us deal? How does Christianity? There you go. Help us deal with disappointment?
Yeah.
I think it's a valid question because I think it's what people are asking. So it's a great question for real.
So
didn't answer your question. But
I mean, you set it up, man. I mean, great. So it makes sense to talk about this now.
Right.
People going from not believing to believing. People going from believing to saying, I really want to follow and trust.
Mm.
But I got kind of three things I just want to talk about as it relates to Christianity and disappointment and dealing with it. Yeah. And the first thought would just be we are in control over less than we think we are. We are in control over less than we think. And so Lecrae is a famous artist, a famous rapper up here, and he's got this tweet earlier this week. He said, "We haven't lost control of our lives." It's up there? Yeah, there he is. We haven't lost control of our lives. We've lost the illusion that we were ever in control. So he's got this tweet. What do y'all think about this? Maybe even a question off of that. In what ways do y'all experience that we've lost control? Or that we have less control than we think? In what ways have you experienced that?
Yeah. I mean, just thinking about this from the standpoint of, it's starting in China, halfway across the world, and then I think everybody here was like, oh, we're safe, and then it eventually gets to America, and we're supposed to be, so safe and secure and comfortable all the time. So I think it's made me really consider, I don't even have control over the fact that I was born in America in the time that I was born, during this Corona crisis, or how I grew up,
the way you were raised.
Yeah.
We didn't have control over that either.
Yeah.
And just the things that I try to plan, now the next couple weeks, it's falling through. I don't have control over my schedule. I don't have control over what my job looks like right now,
And so he's sitting here saying I love that word. I mean, he's sitting here saying it was an illusion in the first place that you had control. It was never true, and now it's just proving it to you. So that's Lecrae. I mean, that's just a smart point. And then I don't know, I think he's on to something here because he's saying man, we try to use control to cope with disappointment. We don't want to be disappointed, so we try to control everything we're doing. And so I don't know, that really sticks out to me. Of just, man, you try in your best effort as a human to just get control over all your life, because you just don't want to be
disappointed. Especially in disappointment, you're trying to do that.
You think you can save yourself from it, that's our protection mechanism.
And I just don't think it's working, honestly. And I think that's what you're getting at is it ain't working.
It ain't working, and so that's one thought. And I don't know, maybe that's a weird thought, but we got to start with the big stuff and the deep stuff. I think in our Christian life, that's what's crazy. He doesn't just say, Christianity isn't just this easy thing of whatever. He's saying if you want to really know that you don't have control, you have to start with thinking about big things.
Yeah.
Thinking about how I'm in control and you're not. And that's hard. But the second thought that I have would just be Jesus gets it. I don't know. Simple. Yeah. Jesus gets disappointment. He knows it. He understands it. He relates to it. how do y'all see that maybe in the Bible, like that he understands?
Yeah, man, I think when I first hear this, like, I heard my brother-in-law talk about this a couple months ago, and it was just really impactful for me. But just this idea that we see in John 11, we see the story of Lazarus. Maybe y'all are familiar with it. I don't know, but the story of Lazarus, where before before John 11, we see like Jesus hanging out with Martha and Mary and Lazarus. They're brothers, sisters, like the three of them, they're siblings, and he's friends with them, like legitimate friends. We see a lot of times with them together. And John 11 rolls around, and Jesus finds out that Lazarus is dying. And so he's on his way, and as he's on the way, Lazarus actually dies.
Going to see Lazarus, but he dies before he gets there.
Right, right. So he gets there, and he meets Martha, and they talk for a little while. And then after he talks to Martha, he talks to Mary. Martha goes in, Mary comes out. And man, it's just this crazy story, because when Mary comes out, Jesus, first of all, like he already knows, I'm going to spoiler alert, like he's going to raise Lazarus from the dead.
He's going to fix it.
Right. He's going to fix the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows this, but Mary comes out, she's really distraught, she's weeping, she's crying.
Yeah, she's kind of angry too.
She's angry.
Yeah.
And he just asks her questions about what's going on.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of it, maybe y'all are familiar with this, we see like one of the most famous verses ever. We see that the shortest verse in the Bible, just 35. Jesus wept.
Yeah.
We see Jesus just like, and we see him enter into her pain, even though he knows he's going to heal her.
Yeah.
Heal him, like bring him back to life.
Mm-hmm.
He knows he's going to do that, but he doesn't tell her like, hey, chill out, calm down, don't be disappointed, don't be mad, like all these things. He's like, he just weeps with her and cries with her. He joins in. And then he ends up healing, like raising him from the dead, but he doesn't do that at first. He sees her pain and acknowledges it and says, it sounds really hard.
That's good.
Something really significant about that he didn't just take care of business and heal her. So, any other thoughts about this? Just Jesus gets it, he understands. When we think about the cross, like if that really is true, like then of course he understands pain and suffering and and that's great, the cross, Jesus, this is a Christian organization, like man, that's a real thing, like and that affects everything for us. So he gets it.
I mean, even with that, when I think of empathy, I think of, no one understands me, no one gets what I'm going through, and that if you are in Christ,
misunderstood.
Yeah, you feel misunderstood,
alone.
But alone. If you're in Jesus, like if you are covered by the blood of Christ, you have a relationship with him. That's never true. It's never true, because he empathizes with us perfectly. We have a high priest who is aware of all our weaknesses. He gets it, and so you're never alone. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, super relevant for now, for what's going on in disappointing times. But I think the last thing I'd love to just discuss would be like what Christianity offers, what Jesus offers, who is what Christianity is about, knowing him. He offers a real peace, not a filtered peace. Yeah. Not a filtered peace. He offers a real peace.
What do you mean by like the filtered? Like.
So filtered, I think I mean like, which I guess I'd love to hear you guys too. Kind of like you kind of got this fancy piece, this like filtered piece, this Instagram. I got the verse up there with the running through the flowers kind of piece, which I just did that earlier today, and it was fun. But oh God, so it's not fancy, right? It actually has some substance and some weight, and it's real and it's raw. I think that's what he offers. So what do y'all think? When I say that? Maybe there's this. Let's look at this tweet and we'll get some thoughts. So we got another tweet. We're all over Twitter, guys. But Timothy Keller, famous pastor, this is what he has to say. He wrote a lot of books. He's kind of got a prayer he put on Twitter, it looks like. But he says, Lord, my human pride makes me feel that if I with my reason cannot perceive any good reason for this suffering, then there can't be any. So again, he's saying, if in my human pride, if it makes me feel that if I with my reason can't perceive that there's any good reason for the suffering, then there can't be any good reason. So then he says, give me the humility that will bring me the peace that comes from trusting you.
Dang. That's so good.
So what do y'all think about that?
Yeah, my first thought with that is he's literally saying, if I'm in control, then there's no hope. Like, if I can't reason, if I can't make sense of this, then like there's no end to my disappointment. But if I acknowledge that God is in control, like, God, would you give me the humility to say that you're God and I'm not? That's when you have peace that surpasses understanding in circumstances. And so it's
peace in the midst of disappointment.
It's like, it's not that I can't feel disappointed. Life is full of disappointment. I can feel sad. I can feel angry. I can feel negative emotions, just like Mary and Martha did. But not only does Jesus not only does Jesus meet me in that, because my hope is in the person of Christ, then I don't have to sit there and I don't have to cope with it on my own. He walks with me through that, and there's always going to be hope. There's an eternal hope beyond this life.
In some ways, you're kind of contrasting like disappointment with peace.
Yeah.
In some ways, not perfectly maybe, but I like that. Aaron, any thoughts, man, just about this peace?
I see the truth of like so much of that tweet only makes sense if you really believe that 1/3 the last word, like that you trust. Do you trust God?
Do you really have trust?
Yeah, like of course you're gonna throw that out there, but like, man, first of all, do you actually trust God completely, like all around? But then even like day to day, do you trust God today? Do you trust God right now in the middle of this disappointment?
If you trusted Him today, then you would have peace today.
That's right.
In some ways, like, and not perfectly, but
and with everything, because it's like when you experience disappointment, it's because something let you down, something didn't meet your expectations, and usually it's because something isn't Jesus, and that's what God is putting His finger on. So
that's good. That's good.
Love it. So Q&A stuff. We said we wanted to get some questions and answers. I don't really even know how many we got. We got one. So, hey, next week, like if y'all got some, we'd love to hear them from you, but no pressure with that. Maybe I think Brooks put this in here, or we were talking about it, and he was like, "Man, I might ask that in the group." But if he didn't, I'm just gonna read his question. I think it could be good for us to wrap it up. Yeah, we were talking about it earlier today. What does a Christian worldview of coronavirus look like? So, how does a Christian deal with coronavirus?
Okay.
What does that look like? Maybe just like quick two sentences, just a few thoughts.
I mean, I think Jesus says the 2 greatest commandments: love God, love your neighbors, yourself. Like, love God, love people. That's what He tells us. And so, real quick answer to that would be, and it's probably not a perfect answer, but I mean, as a Christian, I want to love people really well. What's crazy about Christianity, I think, is because Jesus lived a perfect life for us, because He died for us, like He's done all the work, and so I don't have to be consumed with myself. I don't have to worry about being in control. I get to let go of all these things. I really do get to trust God. I don't have to prove anything. I don't have to earn anything. I'm freed up, and suddenly, because I'm so free and I'm so delighted in just what God has given me, now I can start looking at other people. And so people, I get to love my neighbor. Exactly. So I get to start focusing on them and how I can help them.
And not for like recognition or praise.
Right.
Or if it's inconvenient, like I can still do it.
Right.
So makes a lot of sense. Christian view. I think one thing that I've been really excited about, which seems strange, but
terrifying what you're about to say, but please.
It's just, I think it makes me get outside of myself, thinking about other people, but also the world. Like, how are people all over the world affected by this? What does it look like for Christians in China, in other places, and praying for them more, because Jesus calls us to love people who are different from us too, to care about the world, and then just having an eternal mindset, like, worst case scenario, I get this, I die, it's like, I'm still going to be with Jesus, for the rest of eternity. And so what does that look like for me to live in light of that today?
That's good.
And that's really practical applications.
Yeah, loving your neighbor. You can't love your neighbor if you've never been loved by God, because that's a phrase everybody throws around, different even religions. Like, love your neighbor.
Right.
I can't love my neighbor. I'm too selfish if I'm not thinking about God.
I gotta hoard 300 rolls of toilet paper.
Right. Which I actually do need a decent amount to get me through. So y'all need to stop with the toilet paper stuff. But
that's actually why we did this tonight.
No, like seriously.
Say that.
No. And then you're just the world. So I love it. I think there's a lot of different thoughts. We'll probably put some resources in our bio with if you really. How does a Christian view coronavirus? More thoughts. But a couple shout outs. Well, we did have one more question, and it was are we going to give away these mugs, or could we do some kind of giveaway?
They're
And
not mine.
you know, I will have to think about that one. These were personal gifts for me and Margaret, but we'll see. And then, I know y'all have been kind of putting in comments. I saw another one on here just earlier. Connor Brazel, you out there, man? He might have left a while ago, but he says like, man, this is it. Like, this is not that this is it, but he said this is really hitting the spot. This is really meeting a need for me, and I'm really thankful. So
awesome.
I'm glad that
Thanks
it
for
hit
the feedback, Connor.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We really do want y'all's feedback. All right, so we're wrapping it up. Was this helpful? Like, just thinking about disappointment in general, and dealing with it, and what the Bible has to say, what Christianity has to say. So we want to do this next week. I don't know yet when, but man, if it's helpful, we're gonna keep rolling with it.
Yeah.
But just to end it, it's like one question. Like, if we could give you guys one thing to wrap it up and to say, like, hey, discuss this with your friends, discuss this with each other, it would be like, what is one thing that God might be trying to show you over these next few weeks? Very simple, very generic, but it could be super impactful. Like, what's one thing? We should think about that and talk about that. Like, one thing that God might be trying to show you, and why? Why might He be bringing that up now?
Yeah.
So that's all we got.
That's great.
Love you guys. Thank you for tuning in to the need of the hour. But
Thanks, guys.
we're wrapping it up.
See you next week.
See you next week. That's a great song. I don't know if it's still on, I think, but there's Margaret.
So texting.
What is that? What